The 30-30-3 rule? Hey, welcome to Dallas Stock Talk, where I talk about topics relating to investing in finance, but more specifically these stocks. Now in this video, I'll be going over the 30-30-3 rule. But before we get started, make sure you smash the like button because it helps the YouTube algorithm and helps YouTube know that it's quality content and help my videos reach a broader audience. And also, if you're into finance and investing, you like finance and investing t-shirts, make sure you check out my store, Wall Street Stock Apparel, where I make custom finance and investing t-shirts. So the 30-30-3 rule is a rule you can use to determine how much house you can afford or what is a reasonable amount you should pay for a house to avoid any type of financial strain. There's 3 rules and I'll go over all of them. Now, one of them may be a little bit more difficult, but the more rules you can end up following, the better situation you'll be in. They have several other different strategies, rules that you can use, like the Dave Ramsey 25% rule. They have the 28-36 rule. They have so many different rules out there where it can give you a ballpark or range as a healthy amount that you should pay for your house. And if you would like to see more videos on this, make sure you drop in the comments below and I'll do another video on different types of rules that you can use to determine how much you should pay for your house. The reason why I decided to do this video, because with mortgage rates being so low, a lot of people may be consider buying a house. And because mortgage rates are so low, a lot of people may be tempted to buy a house that costs a lot more. So rule number 1 is not to spend more than 30% of your gross income. And this is before tax. The reason why they're saying 30% because they don't want you to spend too much of your income on your home. So you can think about this conceptually is for every dollar you earn, they don't want no more than 30% to go to that house for your mortgage payment. I'm going to give you an example with real numbers so you can kind of follow. And once again, I also want to mention when I'm saying gross income. So if there's 2 people, you would combine the income. But if there's 1, you would just use your single income. So let's just say, let's give an example. You make $100,000 or you guys make $100,000 together. Now you would multiply that times 30% and you get $30,000. Now that's for the year. So in order to do monthly, you just divide that by 12 and you would get about $2,500 as your monthly payment. Your mortgage payment shouldn't be above that. So now the rule doesn't actually state whether you should include insurance, property tax, or principal, but if you can follow these other 3 rules, you should be okay. If you only can follow 1 or 2 of these rules, I would definitely make sure you include property tax, insurance, and principal. But if you can follow all 3 of these rules, you should be good to go. So another example, if you had $50,000, you would do 30% of that, which would be $15,000, and you divide that by 12 and you get $1,250. So this is just relatively based on this rule of what they call a healthy range to help avoid some type of financial strain. It's also good to mention, I was just doing it on a yearly basis, but if you didn't know your yearly salary, and you can just also do it by hourly as well. You can just take your hourly, assuming you do a 40-hour work week for, let's say, 4 weeks in a month. So you can just do your hourly times 80. That should give you a rough idea about what your monthly income would be. And you just take 30% of that number. So rule number 2 is probably going to be the most difficult one, which means that they're saying 30% of the total value you should have in cash or cash equivalent, something that can be easily converted to cash. Now their logic is 20% for the down payment and 10% for the extra cushion in case any type of emergency fund. This one may be a little bit more difficult for people simply because the prices of houses are so high. But if you can do this, you'll be in really good shape. So I'll give you an example. If the house is $250,000, you should have 30% of that in cash, which you do $250,000 times 30%, and you would get $75,000. So you should have according to this rule, you should have $75,000 in cash or cash equivalents, whether it's, conservative treasury notes, anything that's low risk that you can easily get cash for. So if you could do that, it'd be good to go. Or if the house was $300,000, just do 30% of that, and that would be $90,000. And by the way, I do have calculators and different types of websites that you can use to help you determine this so you don't have to do the math yourself. And last but not least, rule number 3. So rule number 3 says you shouldn't spend more than 3 times your income. So if you make $100,000, you multiply that by 3, that'd be $300,000. So that means the house, if you make on $100,000 salary, if you follow the 30-33 rule, shouldn't exceed $300,000. Now, this may be a little difficult with the housing prices being, much higher. So they said you can extend it to 5, but just remember, the more you extend it, the multiple amount, whether it's 3 or 4 or 5, the more you extend it, then higher your insurance, maintenance, property tax, all that'll go up as well. So if you had $90,000, 3 times that would be $270,000. Now, like I said, in this particular market, because the housing market may be expensive or the particular location, this may not be possible, but the goal is to 3. And they said because interest rates and the way the housing market is, you could extend it to 5, but just know that you'll have a lot more extra costs. So if you extend it on a 5X, $100,000, that means it shouldn't be more than $500,000. And as well, if you did the 90,000 times 5, that would be $450,000. But if you could really stay into no more than 3 times your gross income, you should be really good. If you can at least follow 2 out of 3, in pretty good situation. Now, if you can follow all 3 of those rules, you should be in pretty good shape. Guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think about the 30-33 rule? And what particular rules or strategies do you use to determine how much you should pay for a house or what your mortgage payments would be? If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. If you're new, make sure you subscribe to my channel.